Was it the guy who stormed out last time?
No.
No, he's not. Oh, cool.
Yes.
So you got a
Well, we have four.
you have one?
Because now the board is shrinking, which is not bad, and then it's easier to get four.
Right. How many do we have now?
So we have
Yes.
and now we have seven, so
So the mics are live.
Right. How many do we have now?
Yeah. I have to start it early just to make sure nothing is going. Oh, she's here to take over. Yay. I put you over here, Jorge. Next, yes. How are you? Good.
Is this just for me? Oh. I can't.
the guide.
I got locked. Yeah, I always get locked out because I don't change my password in time, and so then somehow I'm out of it. So then I have to call Dahlia or email her.
Thank you. Thank you for checking, right?
What happened?
So as I say, is this for me?
I just want you to have it.
Every single time she just tells me the same thing. Here's the number. So is this the thing that has the different places? Like this, what is this for?
This is the CRA map. Remember that we talked about?
So that's the theory of
This is the boundary of the CRA. No, it's not that map that we talked about, putting the, you know, the public document.
Right.
Maybe it's not to have some numbers. Then we did the whole city, right?
Okay.
I think it was just, I think it was faster at one point.
I did, yeah.
The CRA
No, I
map,
have no idea.
right?
I had no idea.
One of the members, she got asked, told us that she might get 15 minutes late, she was coming. So then today we really need to have this item, so we are kind of hoping.
I agree.
15 minutes.
When we started, we had, not a mistake, but we had about, I say 7 people. Have any of them, like, really expressed, I'm not going to be here with us?
So two resigned, and at this point, I'm not, we can discuss that with everybody, but I'm not gonna propose replacing them, because the more people for quorum as well, right? So sometimes it's better to have less people, the people that really are committed to
Sure.
being here.
Sure.
And,
5:30. I called her yesterday. You want me to try to call her again? Let me see if I can call her. Yeah, they're probably she's coming in too. Dun, dun, dun. Hi Karen, it's Nadia. Just confirming that you will be here at 5:30 today. You can call me back at 407-971-5554. Did he need something, Teresa?
He wants to drop ballots, but we are not receiving that.
Oh, okay.
Can we call her now?
Who?
Carrie?
I did. I left her a voicemail. I just called her. Hallelujah. Now we wait for Sheila. And Sheila? Hi, Karen. I just called you. I just called you. Yes, ma'am. So disregard. Teresa.
I've looked at it.
I do, the other one's at one. I'm not ready for this.
Hi, Sheila. I put you over here. Oh, over here, Sheila. Right over here. Yes. Yay.
Okay. All right, so I want to call the meeting to order. It is 5:40,
5:36.
5:36.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody silence their cell phones and speak clearly into the microphone. I believe they're all on. And I believe you guys have the minutes from the last meeting that we were at, which was a while ago. So why don't you look those over, and then we'll maybe get a motion to approve the minutes. Think everything is right. Okay, does that look all right? And does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Approve.
Did you have them?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Move.
Anybody second it? Okay. So we'll approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. And I hear no nays, and so we'll approve that. Okay, and I've signed that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so the next part of our business is to have public comments. I don't see anybody, well, you're not the public, are you? Okay. I don't see any public. So I don't see any public, so we'll just move on and go to the staff report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is it on? Is it on now? I think now it's on. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm very happy that today we have quorum and we have a couple of items to discuss. So the first one is to discuss, you were really asking for the blessing from this board at this point, because at one point, Drew Bower, who is the Rec and Parks Director, came to me and said that he would like to have a mural painted in our Aquatic Center here at Oviedo Boulevard. And he had approached already Xavier Moss to do an estimate how much it would cost, and Xavier gave the estimate. And because we did not have the meetings, we kind of skipped some meetings because there was no quorum. Drew went to the CRA and got funding for this mural. So this is the mural that we have the graphics here, and this is going to be used. It was a way to use, because we needed to have some project to use the funds from last fiscal year. So every October we have a new fiscal year, and the CRA has been budgeting $25,000 every year. But if we don't use it, they do not add to the additional, 25 for the next fiscal year. It goes away, and then 25 comes into their budget again. So this was a way to get money from the last fiscal year for this project and not impact the new, 25,000 for the budget for this present fiscal year. So I would like to allow Drew to present to you the idea. I totally support it, although it's going to be the third mural from Xavier, but this is going to be internal. This is something that, Drew was willing to do and comfortable to have an artist that already worked with us. So we would like to have, but because it's in a public building, it's part of the Public Arts Board recommendation. So I would like him to present and see if you all could recommend approval.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
You have to press until it's get green.
I think I talk loud enough.
It's just a recording for the.
I could have done that, sorry. Good evening. So presently we have a mural that was painted, I do believe, back in 2012 by an artist in the hallway of the gymnasium. It's a mural of a basketball player and volleyball player. And I had seen, actually, it's kind of strange, well, not strange, but I'd seen the movie The Equalizer 2, and in that movie, there's a wall where Denzel Washington's character lives, and he has an artist paint a mural rendering, I should say, on a wall, and it's based about community. So I had gotten with Xavier, and I gave him that idea, and he looked into it, and then the top mural is what he's come up with to paint on the wall. But we still wanted to represent something because it is a gymnasium aquatic facility, so we still wanted something rendering of some kind of basketball and volleyball. So on the interior two walls in the gym, he's going to be painting the two lower abstract arts on the gym, one of the basketball and one of the volleyball with the players he's, as you all know from the two murals he's painted currently, one at Center Lake Park and one at Round Lake Park. He's a very talented artist. He's a local artist. So I had went to him just to get pricing, actually for budget purposes, and in the process of getting budgeted dollars, started talking to Teresa, and then started talking to city manager, Mr. Cobb, and Brian reminded me that that the gymnasium aquatic facility lies in the CRA area, and because of that, we could possibly utilize CRA art funding dollars to be able to do this project. So unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to get with you all. So we went ahead, as Dr. Correa explained, we went ahead and I took it to the CRA board and requested funding from this year's $25,000 allotment be carried over for this. And there's, besides the pricing that you see that his price, we put on there a contingency, because of course he priced this out several months ago, and we don't know what the price of art and supplies are going to cost. Everything, is, everyone knows, all costs are rapidly continue to escalate. So we put that on, and the CRA board approved that, so we were able to carry those funds and not lose those funds. I felt like that was a big win for us, because we can utilize funding now for the Public Arts Board and continue going forth with, different types of arts in our facilities, as well as future artistic endeavors outside our facilities at some of our other parks and things. And I know Teresa's going to talk to you about one that I know that's in the product and in the report tonight that I'm actually pricing out right now is large letters that will spell out Oviedo, and we're hoping to bring that to y'all later in the next few months. I'm still pricing out. I'm having a hard time getting groups to actual price out. But there are going to be oversized letters that will go someplace in Oviedo in the park that people will be able to then take pictures in. And we've seen this, and we're both kind of excited about that, about bringing that to you in the future. And so that's kind of it, but I'm here to answer any questions that you might have about this.
So what, my question is, are you saying that money, the $25,000, because you got that approval, you'll get that even though this project really isn't going to be completed until next year? And then we would get another $25,000?
There's $25,000 of CRA money that is part of the Public Arts Board from the CRA to be able to go for public art on an annual basis. Had we not went and requested that to be carried over, we would have lost all that money. We would
Okay.
just start over with 25.
With the 25,
So
okay.
now we've got this pot plus the 25 for next year.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
So otherwise, without you getting this secure, we just wouldn't have anything and wouldn't do
Exactly.
anything? Okay,
That's why I feel like, I mean, because we've had that mural in there so long, it needs an upgrade. One of the things that, from the two previous murals that Xavier has painted, and then, of course, with this idea that we kind of worked on and he came about, it, to me, as the Rec and Parks Director long-term here, continues to identify community and about our community and some of the history of our past community and still bringing it to the forefront of our facilities. So that's one of the things that excites me about doing that with this rendering. And then also with the other two, it's kind of abstract art, but I think the kids are going to love it and the parents are going to love it once it gets inside the gymnasium.
what, this is abstract art with the faces in it? Or the basketball?
The basketball,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah. And this is the top one's the rendering that he has come up with for the wall.
Right, okay.
And it's based upon
The inspiration.
the
This is just the inspiration.
Yeah, the
that was
inspiration
here.
came from the movie, if you've ever seen the movie Equalizer 2 with Denzel Washington.
Okay.
It's, yeah, if you want to watch it sometime. There's a walkway into the apartment complex, and this young man, he hires him because someone graffitied it. So he hires him to clean it up and then to paint it. And so at the end of the movie, they kind of unveil it, and there was it's based upon people who live in that apartment complex, plus then the outside city area. And it has this one woman who took care of the garden area, and he depicted her in the picture. It just is kind of, to me, it's community.
Right.
It talks about community.
You had a question.
Yeah. Good?
Yeah.
All right, so the movie, I've seen it, it's pretty good. The action packed,
Yeah.
it's really awesome. So yes, I co-sign on that one, let's see it. So if you could please break this down Barney style for me. We're looking at all these images to be created, correct? All these images are non-existent, these are the ones that we're proposing to go with, or we're gonna agree to go with, correct?
Yes.
All right, got it. So, and the images picked, especially on that one on the bottom right. So I know where the inspiration came from, but if you could just tell me or us a little bit about how that reflects Oviedo and in that particular space, Oviedo.
So I think and I wish I really had asked Xavier to come because it's kind of his thought pattern after looking at that. But what him and I have spoken about is, of course, if you look at going left to right, if you look, you have the water tower that basically is down behind the Evans property. You have the third one over, I really can't speak of the second one, but the third one over's football player represents both high schools in sports. You have, underneath the football player, you have the church, which represents the Baptist church that is downtown. You just have, he has renderings of children playing. The people who he has, I don't think necessarily represents just anyone in particular. Of course, the chicken in the middle represents the old downtown area.
So let me clarify just one thing. So this mural here is just the inspiration, right?
Yes, this is just
This is not
inspiration.
gonna be painted.
Oh,
Okay,
this down
yeah.
below is not gonna
So
be
this
painted.
is just an
is the-
inspiration
Got
you
it.
got from.
I was like
This
looking
is
for
the
the
new
chicken in
mural.
this, and I'm like,
Yes, this is the new
Oh,
mural.
one-
I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood.
The one on top copy, I get that. We can look at those images there and pretty much see, you know, I'm
Yeah,
new
yeah,
here,
yeah.
so I
Yeah.
can pretty much see. But I was just looking at the bottom right one, if that's gonna be depicted on the
No.
wall.
No.
This is
Right.
just where he
No,
got the
that's just where
inspiration
he-
from.
That's where he, and actually, this depiction, or this picture in the lower, wasn't actually the one finalized in the movie. If you notice, it's a little bit different. So I think what Brandon Smith, I mean, he drew, I think what Xavier did, he pulled up multiple things that Brandon Smith had done, and this is one of the ones that he showed when he sent this to me. I misunderstood your.
that's great. Yeah, because I think I was just I was confused too, like, what does this represent?
Yeah,
I'm trying to look at it, who are these people?
No. That's
Okay.
just where he
Awesome.
drew his inspiration from.
Yeah, I like this one. What do you guys think?
My question was just to understand the finances. So the total price was $10,283. So then does that mean, had we spent the rest of that $25,000, or does that just get lost because we didn't
Lost.
use it? Okay.
Lost.
Okay.
Here's, I was trying to work hard, I'll be totally honest. Teresa knows this, I've been trying to get the letters priced out, and we did get one group to kind of give us a pricing, but for a project of that extent, because it's really metal work.
Okay.
It's metal fabricating.
Is it a metal signage?
Yeah, it's
pieces?
metal fabrication,
Okay.
so I've either got to find an artist, which I haven't been able to really find one
Okay.
directly, who does metal fabrication and then also does painting of it and all that. So what we've been doing is we've been actually contacting metal fabricators who actually
Yeah.
do signage.
I might know
That's
an artist.
maybe not the best way to go about, because basically the companies that we're looking at now do signs.
Yeah,
That's what they do.
yeah.
But it is artistic type signage that they do.
Yes.
And what we're looking at is, huge lettering to where people can stand in the O and stuff, and it be a point of designation where people will go and have pictures, family pictures, prom, whatever pictures type done. We're looking at either doing it on the back side of the hill of the amphitheater lawn, or somewhere other area of the park, the center of the park.
Okay.
Well, you're an artist, so I guess you come in contact with a lot of people who do different types of art.
Well, I do know two artists, and it's a couple, and they work for different companies. In fact, they just work for signage companies that do welding. They do welding, they're welders, and they do faux painting on the signs for all the parks, for all the theme parks. And they do jobs on the side in addition to their, full-time job. So,
See, that's
they're
one of the
really
things-
amazing.
Maybe if you can
Well,
give
maybe
us
we
the,
can- yeah, because
the
that's one of
reference.
the things I haven't been able to find directly an artist who does the welding and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they do the metalwork and they do painting. So I will find out. I'll ask.
If you
What
can-
do you want me to just get their information? Or
Yeah,
reach
send
out?
it to me, and
Yeah.
then
Okay.
and on the budget, let me just explain. So to be able to carry forward, they need to have an assigned, an approved project.
Okay.
And that's why we had, Drew, volunteer to rush it to the CRA to have something approved. And because he was already doing estimates for the murals, he then got those approved. So we secured those 10,000, and there is some change in the second page, so that at least we have those approved for, to be carried forward in addition to the 25,000 that they budget every year. Otherwise, we would lose the 25, and we would just have, would lose the 25 from last fiscal year, and we'll have just, so that's something to keep in mind, that every year we have this amount that we can use and to be used in the CRA.
And this is the CRA.
This is the
the
CRA
Yeah.
boundary,
area
yes.
that they,
And that's the thing, we can
Govern.
only utilize that money in the CRE district area.
Yeah, and then the board has to approve, so we have to take to the board to approve, the assignment of
Right.
the budget, and that was already secured for this one. So tonight, we are just asking you to consider and, hopefully recommend approval of this one, and then we can move forward with this project.
Okay. Sheila, do you have any?
I do have a question. So the mural, is it gonna be, when you mentioned metal, it's gonna be made of metal in some?
No,
Oh,
that's-
the signage, the second, not this one. This is just being painted on
Okay, so this
walls.
is just gonna be painted
This is on walls.
Okay.
The second one I'm talking about is large letters, some kind of fabrication of
Okay.
metal or
Got it.
aluminum or something, and then possibly painted. I guess it really, because we've seen signs that, some cities put signs in that they're just stainless. They're not painted. Some of them are just,
Metal.
welded in metal, and they're meant to look like that.
And you have images of ones that you've seen at cities that you like? that you
Yeah,
were
actually-
interested in? Okay.
Well, I think we have a presentation, I think
Yeah.
probably they are going to have that. It's very common, Rio has one in Brazil that, and some are in concrete, so
Yeah,
it
that's
depends.
nice.
And some are, we could order something, more industrial based, whatever, and then have the artist paint the surface, right? So it's different ways to approach, because these are huge structures, not every artist has the,
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the theme
capability
park,
of producing those, so.
yeah, and some of the theme parks I've seen, they have letters of whatever it might be, and they actually place them to where they can be rolled around and placed in different areas of the theme park for picture taking. So I've seen that too. We talked about doing something like that over in the park, but we don't have any place to store stuff.
Gotcha.
And my worries are when you place something on rollers, we don't want the O to all of a sudden disappear.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to have a fixed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Can I, so since I don't know what it looks like right now, like inside, this looks nice to me. I mean, this is a big improvement on what is there right now.
Yeah, we literally, it was one of my former employees' sister, who's an artist, painted it for us. Actually, if you go into the gym and you walk into the gym, she did 2 different paintings. She did the wall painting down the hallway going to the fitness room, and she did the around the concession stand, which is more beach oriented, tiki hut type thing.
Okay.
And we're leaving that right now because it kind of fits still in with the pool and people coming to the concession stand. So I just kind of felt like, we needed a new facelift at
Okay.
the facility. And the idea is, by doing the 2 interior to the gym, because I've got white walls in the gym basically. So there's 2 areas that there's going to be one of those each on one wall. And then we would put down the entire length of the hall, the mural that Xavier's come up with. And it's basically going the entire length of that wall, probably longer than the original was.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be neat.
What do you guys think that you're ready to vote, or do you want more discussion on this one project?
Questions. So this is an indoor deal?
Indoor.
This is an indoor. So as far as it being as an inviting thing, inclusive for all to come, the focal point of this is the Aquatic Center. We want to, not want to, but
It's at the gym. It's
it'll
actually
build
part
it
of the
over to
gymnasium
bring it in.
aquatic facility, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So that's pretty much what I was going at there, because this thing is really nice there, and it does capture the Oviedo sense per se, but it's indoors. I was picturing an outdoor, especially when you said about getting the lettering out there for pictures for whatever occasion that may bring. So I mean, maybe I have to go and take a look at the area itself just to see if that's that's really the most optimal place for something that looks really cool.
We don't really have that
See,
time.
that's the thing, at the
Maybe
gymnasium
you
aquatic
just
facility, we
want
really
to-
don't have any place outdoors to paint murals.
Was that?
We really, at the gymnasium aquatic facility, we really don't have anything outdoors to paint murals,
All right. Well.
not presently.
Okay.
I think, to his point, one thought came to mind as you were talking, that I love the indoor ones. I love that they're like sports that are played in the gym. And I do like that these are Oviedo figures, but this does seem very reminiscent of the one at, on the racquetball courts there at Round Lake. Is that Round Lake Park?
Around like,
Yeah.
I wondered if maybe he could put more sportsy things a little bit in there too.
by all means, we can definitely ask him.
Like I love the football player, and the chicken and I mean definitely Oviedo things. But if he has specific rationale behind these other people, that might be interesting to hear. I'm not saying I'm on board with this. I think it's great. But if I remember last time, Xavier was pretty flexible with like making little changes,
And
right?
he will. He
Yeah.
will be. If the board told me tonight, hey, Drew, you know, hey, we like this, we like this, we like this, hey, this one thing,
Yeah.
maybe, you know, I'm just taking, looking at the picture. If you said, hey, Drew, you know, one aspect of it or one thing of it we don't like, maybe we could change. He's very flexible.
Sure.
That's one thing I love about Xavier. He's very flexible and he's
Right.
open to ideas and things.
Agreed. I personally would like to see a little more like swimming or sportsiness going on in it since it's in the.
I totally agree.
Okay.
I think it's a great suggestion because I think, you know, the chicken, you know, we have already kind of portrayed those.
And we also have,
In
in
the-
the Round Lake Park, we also have a church in Round Lake Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Like
would be nice to
ours.
have more sport,
Ask
you know.
for more sports
Yeah,
stuff,
Yeah,
I
so-
would say. There's so many sports you could incorporate.
yeah.
And that's why the question was this an outdoor space? Is this somewhere that'll attract people and then you'll have those picture things? Now knowing for certain that it's a gymnasium of sort, and it's indoors to, sorry,
Karen.
Karen here, yes, that something related to what the patrons of
yeah.
the facility are doing.
I will tell you though, that facility gets a lot of use by not just athletes, because we run our summer rec programs there too. So we have a lot of parents and a lot of people come through those doors. Plus also because of the aquatic. Now I do like the idea about the swimming because it would tie in the entire facility then. Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, based on the idea that it's either use it or lose it, I don't have any problem with this being there. I think we should, vote on it. I mean, if we say no, we don't have time to go to the board to get the approval before the end of the year. And I know it's kind of like pushing it down our throats in a certain way because it's like you have to say, yes or no, and if you say no, then we lose it. But-
Yeah, and it's not-
the
it's
money's
not the
already
end of the year.
approved.
Yeah, it's
So
not
we're
the
not
end of-
going to lose anything.
Okay.
No, it's not the end of the year, actually. It's just because it was the end of fiscal year.
Okay.
So it's already ended in
So we're
September.
not-
So if
so-
we don't approve, we lose
The
it.
only thing we've got to do is after your approval, we've got to take it back to council for final
Right.
approval. So, if you would like, me to discuss, or if you would like me to bring, the thing I don't want to do is I don't want to push this off for months because he is literally ready to start painting as soon as we give him approval.
Right.
So I just don't want to put it off a long period of time with, changes. If we could, do something on a quick basis.
I wonder if we could, can we approve it today and include in the approval that we would meet
The
with him
suggestions?
to discuss the possibility, because he's the artist. I mean, we're not going to make him do
Teresa.
something he doesn't feel as comfortable with, but I mean, I'm sure, like you said, he's pretty flexible. Maybe we could talk to him, but can we approve it with that understanding?
With the recommendation that he can, if he could incorporate more sport, sport images,
Okay.
or I
Teresa,
think that is something.
Could we do it on that basis, and then upon him changing some things, just send them out directly to the board and get consensus that
So
way
we'll
without
have-
having a meeting?
No, so if the recommendation can be done today, the recommendation of approval with, the suggestion for changes, as we did in the past for, the mural at Round Lake Park. And then we'll have to bring to city council.
Yes.
So he will have an opportunity to show it again, at city council. and that we can, it's also open to the public, so the Public Arts Board, if you have suggestions,
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
that's
also
good.
go there, right, to make suggestions, or let me know before we present to council. But I think
When's the
if
next
if you're
meeting?
okay with the concept and just, incorporating more sports into the image, I think that would be good. That would work.
Yeah, I wanted to say something, and it's good about the sports. I really believe that there should be more sports, but where would we put them? What exactly can we replace from here? So what I was looking at is the green, the fuchsia, yellow, the people that are back here, because I don't feel like, I'm not feeling, I know it's the children, because you told me it's the children, but if someone looks at this, can they really tell it's the children playing? So where would we put the, I would go to replace the four that are back there and place it there, or where? Because we have to think about that. What exactly are we replacing?
Yeah, usually we did not, so in the past, we just gave him recommendations of changes, and he did, so because we don't want to design for him, right?
Oh,
It's still
okay.
his project, so we're going to say, this is what the board suggested, that either if you want to say the kids should be more, strongly represented, we can say
Defined.
that, or in the sports to also include, other sports and kids, instead of maybe the icons of Oviedo, because this was already, the tower, the chicken we already did, but it's going to be up to him to redesign it, right? We don't want to be
And
the ones.
I also think this is probably just him kind of like loosely putting something in there because he probably doesn't want to, spend that much time on just a concept. It's just like a thumbnail concept. I would think they would be represented better in the full mural. I think it's just kind
Exactly.
of like
Okay.
to help us idea that there would be people there,
Yeah. I mean, literally, in some of this area, like where the rooster is, he can still do that kind of rendering. He might just make it smaller to where the rooster might be underneath the water tower or something. It might still be represented. He's very good about changing things on the fly too as he paints. So, because I think with any painter, I mean, I agree. He kind of, I mean, even the rendering that he did at Round Lake Park, he had to change a little bit during the process. Because, he drew everything out as he, but he ended up having to change a couple of things. And so, and that turned out just amazing. So I think he can incorporate everything, and I will have no problem if this gets passed tonight to speak with him tomorrow. I'm for sure he'll be excited.
Okay, are you guys ready to vote on this one? Does anyone
Yes.
want to make a motion to approve the Oviedo Aquatic Center mural proposal?
You need to make a motion to recommend to the council.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we would be doing is making a motion to recommend this to the city council, that they adopt this proposal for the aquatic center. Does anybody want to make a motion for that?
I'll try. I make a
Three
motion that we,
people.
that we bring this to the city council for approval.
Okay.
With suggestions?
With
Do you want to incorporate it with the
suggestions
suggestions to,
Incorporate more sports imagery.
Okay. And I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Does anybody object to that? I hear no objections, so the motion passes.
thank you.
Is that right? Did you say yay or nay? Or are you not in favor?
Yeah. Go for it. Yay with reservations that was stated before as far as the suggestions for the mural.
Okay, so the motion passes, and you'll present this and ask him about our recommendations to have more sports
Yep.
stuff in there.
Thank you.
Great. All right,
Okay.
so,
The second item to discuss, and You are welcome to stay. If you, okay. Okay, that would be great because we have a third one that I think you'll be interested to see. So the second one is is just sharing with you a project that is coming, which is the Ellington Project, and this is in the corner of Clara Lee and Mitchell Hammock. And we have in our architectural standards that if you deviate from any architectural standards from the LDC, the Land Development Code, you can mitigate by providing public art. And it can be inside the project or donate money to the Public Art Board, the Public Art Fund. So this one is actually part of the project. They are proposing art walk along Clara Lee. So it's like a linear little park inside their project, but it's going to be open, so it's public. And they are proposing 3 sculptures. So I just wanted to share with you because they sent to me, it's just the concept, and you have here, Donnie, if you could move forward. That. What is that? It's not working, that's fine. I mean, you all have hard copies.
Right.
So this is not subject to the approval recommendation from the Public Art Board because it's on private property. But once it's there, it has still a public function because it's open, it's going to be seen, you know, when we are walking or driving along Clara Lee. It's going to be part of our map when we start mapping, you know, public art in the city so people can see. And so I just want to share with you, and the idea was to use elements, and they are still working on that we have in our emblem, so in our symbol of the city. So, you know, some orange, or they are still discussing. They started with acorn, but it's all a little bit, you know, it's just a concept, and celery, but it's all more graphic, right? So we'll have 3 sculptures. They have committed to spend, I think it's $85,000 on, you know, in those 3 sculptures. 85,000. So it's 25,000 one. The other 2 are 25,000. The other one 35,000. So that is what but they are going to spend directly and put, you know, and have the sculptures on their property.
Where is this again?
So this is here in Clara Lee. So Clara Lee is our street. So we have Alexandria Boulevard. Clara Lee is the one that goes to Mitchell Hammock. In the corner of Mitchell Hammock and Clara Lee, you have, you know, an area that was cleared recently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in front of Panera.
Okay.
And it's going to be a mixed-use development with 5 buildings, and 2 buildings is going to be mixed-use. So you have retail on the bottom and apartments on top, and 3 others will be apartments. And there will be a connection also between Clara Lee and Alafaya, connecting to the car wash place or the oil place at Clara, at Central, and then where the Bank of America, used to have a Bank of America there, now it's going to be also demolished. There is going to be a new project, it's called Stonewood. It's already approved. It is going there, so we will have this internal road accessing Central and then Alafaya in those 2 projects. So it's a nice project, and they are bringing a lot of, you know, qualities that we want to see in the project, and one of them is public art. So,
Are these sculptures that they're proposing going to be seen from Mitchell Hammock?
they are, because, so that's what I'm saying. I don't have the site plan here, but along Clara Lee, they are proposing like a little linear park. So it's just an area, you know, the buildings are going to be a little bit set back, and they have the sidewalks, you know, in a kind of organic way with benches and with landscape and sculptures. So it's going to be a very nice place to walk, you know, in between here and Oviedo Park.
Okay. And so when it's a private property like this, the art board doesn't have
No.
any say. They do whatever they want, look-wise.
They do.
Okay.
They do because it's private property. that was, when we established the board, we established that the board would only regulate and approve and recommend approval for arts that related to public land, so, anything in the right-of-way, anything in the public buildings, would be subject to the public art approval or recommendation of approval, but not in private.
Now, do you, Teresa, as in your role with the planning in the city, are they subject to what your opinion is in regard to the art that they put on their private property? In other words, are there limitations as far
No.
as materials they make it out of?
No.
Totally open.
Yeah. The same with their mural. I mean, murals are a little bit, because they are part of the building, the architecture, and the architecture is approved by city council. But a sculpture is not, right? We don't have standards for a sculpture, and we do not really regulate. I mean, there is no way to regulate that. It's really open to, and because it's very subjective,
Yeah.
right? But we already have a couple of those that came with the project, the ones in Oviedo Park that you have, came with the project, and we did not regulate them. But I'm personally of the opinion that more the better, right? I mean, it's not my taste necessarily, right? But it's good to have diversity also in art. So that is a contribution from the private sector. I mean, I think I welcome,
Okay. Okay.
So this one was just for information. The other one, and if you have any other questions or, and as soon as this is, I have more concrete plans I can share with the board as well. This was just a concept that they shared with me, and I wanted to bring to you. The third one is a sculpture that is being proposed now for the Dwell project. The Dwell project is also a mixed-use project. They are initially starting with the apartments, but this is at Oviedo Mall Boulevard, so it's in front of the north entrance to the hospital. So the hospital has access to Redbug Lake, and then north to Oviedo Mall Boulevard. On the other side, on the north side of Oviedo Mall Boulevard, we have this project approved a couple of actually years ago, and they have been extending their permit, and now they came for the site plan and the architectural plan. So we are reviewing the architectural plans. And as part of the architectural plans, again, they came with a proposal for a sculpture in the roundabout. But then the roundabout is public, and they are extending the road, and because they brought in the idea, so this is the project over there. This is the roundabout, and the next picture will show the sculpture that is being proposed, which is this one, being proposed for the roundabout. And I said, well, this one is subject to the Public Arts Board, and because we are taking the architecture to council, I said, let me take it to the board to see if the board will recommend approval as it is, because if the board approves, this sculpture, then the developer will pay everything, will install and everything, and we don't need to use our, money.
Got it.
So they don't need to donate to us, and we'll have to find the artist, whatever. I mean, this is another way that we can approve the project, is by just accepting a proposal from a developer. So this one is for your approval or your consideration and your recommendation.
This is a lot.
Is this for the roundabout that's existing on Oviedo
No,
Boulevard?
this is
It's a
all
new
new.
one?
No.
Okay.
What
This is
this image right here, what does it represent?
I think he explains here that it's a kind of flying kites.
There was explanations on the other one for the Ellington, but as far as this, the metal structure that I'm looking at here, I don't believe seeing an explanation for it.
Maybe I should have brought also the email. I didn't. He gave me this picture today because I said, oh, I have a board meeting, can you send to me? So I can forward to you the email. I think he was explaining as flying kites. So that was the inspiration to have that. And it's going to be all metal, and it's going to have a base, and then the sculpture will come on top of the base.
What's the cost of it, do you know?
He did not give me the cost, but it's going to be, if that's what's going to be approved, that's what's going to be delivered. So,
Flying kites, you say?
yeah.
Okay. Can we look at it back up?
So this is going to be, there is a kind of unimproved access, a road in that area, but it's all wooded, so
Do we
the
fly
road is not
kites
there.
Out there? Do we fly our kids out there with kites? Because flying kite, right? That's what we're calling this thing?
I think that's what he called it.
So is
That
there
was
a
the
picture? Is there-
inspiration.
I'm sorry.
I think it's over there, it's wooded. I don't think
It's
there is
wooded.
much access for you to do stuff there, but I think it's just an image that the developer
So no release. Okay.
used.
I'm sorry, I don't understand where this is exactly on Oviedo Boulevard, where this will be.
Not
Is
Oviedo
this-
Boulevard, Oviedo Mall.
Oviedo Mall.
Oviedo
That's why
Mall
I'm-
Boulevard, yeah. So
Okay,
the,
Oviedo Mall.
so this would be, let me show you. Do you have the other plans?
I have,
The map, yes.
yeah. Okay, so here's,
So this is the right position, so this, on the bottom here, it's cut, but it would be Oviedo Mall Boulevard. So there's gonna be a street, and then at one point, there's gonna be a roundabout to have another road to the east, and there is also the PUD, which is a planned unit development, has also proposed office on the west side, which is not showing. On the west side of the roundabout, in the future, there will be an office or office space.
okay.
And then you have the residential to the northeast and the southeast. Here, there is a building, the clubhouse is the one in the corner. And you have 1, 2, 3 buildings and a fourth building to the south, and then a hotel facing Oviedo Mall Boulevard.
Oh, wow.
Can I ask you, so the developer who's developing this, obviously they want the sculpture because it fits into their design when they're proposing it, or, so, I mean, how do we really fit, how do we fit in? I mean, you're saying that we have to sort of, like, if we said, no, we don't like it, then they're just gonna not put anything there? Like, what is the outcome in that situation?
Wow,
Or
good
are we-
question, because this
Or
is
do they
not,
just go to the
this is
city?
not required, right? They can, this is not a requirement. So this is a mitigation for deviations to architecture, standards on the plans that we have to approve. So it has to make sense, they still have to meet the intent of the code for the architecture. But sometimes, especially if it has 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings with 4 facades, so it's 16 facades, right? And some will deviate from the code with materials, with fenestration, whatever the standard it is. If it meets the intent of the code, we approve. But because it's a deviation, you are supposed to propose a mitigation. There are several, ways to propose a mitigation, and we want to stimulate the money that enhances the public realm, right? The experience of, on the streets, So either we ask for enhanced, sidewalk with benches, or art, or a circuit that people can walk and exercise, in the community, things that we think
So it's a
good.
negotiation.
It's negotiated.
Because they're not exactly on point, perfect, and you're saying, okay, that's a little bit fine if you do this for us, that'll work out.
So this one came and said, Teresa, we love the idea of public art. We have the project. This is what we are going to propose. And I said, great. and and I asked him, it's going to be in your development. Said, great, so that's not subject to the public art. And then when he showed me where it is, and I said, oh, this is right away. So this is actually our land, right? So that's okay, there is no problem. You can still, propose, but this is something that the board has to recommend approval. So it's under your purview.
What is that mitigation fee that they would have to pay if when,
So that's an interesting, it's all negotiation, right? And some projects want to give more than we had in the past, because
Right.
it's their prerogative to, it's a donation, so we cannot stipulate an amount, because otherwise it's a tax. So it's really a conversation, and I tell them, bring the best you can, because, we want to have projects coming and bringing art, right? This is how we want to have the ball rolling, right, in public art. So, and he said, yeah, I love the idea because it helps my project and it helps, the city, because it's, now we are going to have, something in a roundabout. And that's that he proposed. So when he proposed that, he thought he was doing that on his project.
right?
But I said, no, this one is in the right of way, so it's subject to the recommendation of the board. I can take to the board, because we are taking the architecture in the November 1st to council for approval, and I said, well, let me see if the board likes the idea, if they can recommend approval. If they can, I can include that with the architecture.
So we can say we don't recommend it, and the city can say, we're doing it,
It's going to be the first, right?
right? I mean,
It can.
yeah, I mean,
It can. It's the approving authority is city council.
we either
right?
recommend
Yeah.
or we don't, and we can say no, and they can say yes if they want to. I mean, so we don't have to.
I like this one. I like this better than the Ellington ones, to be honest. I think this one looks classy and it has movement. To me, the Ellington ones, they look a little, well, I know that's, the ones on the inspiration page I like less than their actual vision. But I think this metallic, the structure, the movement of it, I think it's classy. I like it. I don't have any objection to it myself.
I don't either. I mean, I like it, and I think it's probably more expensive than anything we would be able to afford. I don't know, or it would be a huge chunk of our money. So the fact that we don't have to put that up seems pretty good, but
I think one thing that I would say is that we haven't done a sculpture yet, right, on our side. So it's good to have, developers taking the initiative, because it kind of saves us time and, and money to figure out. At one point we will, right, have to figure out, but it's also, it's their risk of undertaking, and we are just committing to the image. We want this, and he gives, the size, whatever, so this is going to be delivered to us, right? It's going to be part of the approvals, so he's going to be committed to that. In a way, it's easier for us than accepting the money, and then we will have to do the work. I mean, there are different ways that we can reach, the goal. Of course, if you have, because we have had a couple of small donations to small projects, that this is also coming, to increase our budget to be spent for something that either, I know Parks will, and Rec will propose, or, you all propose, or whatever. We can discuss ideas, later. But I don't think it's a bad idea to also accept contribution from the developer if you think it's a good contribution. I also like it. I mean, I think it's I'm not a big fan of all metal sometimes, but this one I thought it was I liked, and I like the surface, how he did it, which doesn't seem all. It seems a little bit brushed. Where's that?
Do you know what the dimensions are?
He gave me the dimensions too. I don't know if I'm gonna. Let me see if they have here. I have in my email, I don't know if it's 16 feet.
About 16 feet? Okay.
Yeah, but it's something
but
like that.
It would look better if it's taller.
Yes, and it's going to sit on a base to kind of project more.
we did, and we did look at some sculptures before, and I remember one was like $90,000, and it was a pretty small one. You remember, I forget what his name was, proposed it, and it was, you know, where Tutu's is on Broadway, that little retention pond?
Pond, yeah, retention pond, yes.
And it was like $90,000.
Yeah.
And we were like not wanting to spend that money, you know, so I don't know how much this would be, but it was really difficult to pull the trigger on a lot of the art. So I don't know. So to me, that would be art that we didn't, you know, that's in addition to all the stuff that we do, which the more the better. That's my opinion. So
I think it looks more like people dancing than kites, though. It does look like dancing.
That's what I thought it was. It's like someone.
Like two people, yeah, someone being swung around. But I do like the feel of it. It has a good,
I just bring it back to the purpose of it, right? How does it fit in? What is the identity of this thing, right? I get the abstract feel. I totally understand that one. But again, if we're decorating our city here, we want, at least in my opinion, want something that has a purpose or has an intention. That's why I asked. If it's a kite, awesome. Is there a park? Is there something that kind of goes hand in hand with that? Or is it something that we just need to adorn on a dark road that nobody goes by? So that's the, and then when the price tag is being added, you know, in a 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, could that be reallocated, or not reallocated, can that be better used on a project that perhaps is more appealing to the eye, to the general eye? I got the artist eye, but the general Joe and Jane that is looking at this piece of my textiles or into something that looks cool, or something that looks nice at least.
So what's our timeline on this, on making a recommendation? Is this going to be brought up at the next city council meeting?
If you all consider tonight and recommend or not recommend tonight, then I can provide a recommendation to council in the next city council meeting with the architecture. I can include that in the architecture. Or if you don't, then I'll have to tell the developer that he will have to bring it another time. So it's, you know.
But the development's approved, right? I mean, in some way, or?
The development the site plan is approved. Now he's approving the architecture. The architecture hasn't been approved yet. So, and this is scheduled to go to council on November 1st. So if you have the recommendation, I would include the recommendation there, and it would be, you know, approved with the architecture.
Got it.
George,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just say, do not like that it doesn't have a meaning behind it. I get what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying, and I agree to some degree. But with it being more of an abstract piece, if it had more of a rationale behind it that tied into the land, do you think you would like it better?
Purpose, rationale for it, and it's not just, and that's just me. I'm just more or less trying to voice the opinion for others. When we drive around through towns, we drive around through this town, and maybe we have said, what is that? And then general consensus or popular consensus may be, yeah, what is that thing? And now we have the authority, I guess, to recommend or approve on something, and I would just like there to be meaning tied into it, purpose tied into it.
Now let me ask you this, do you, like if you see abstract pieces of art, do you always dislike them? Or would you like them if they had meaning associated with that?
New Orleans, amazing. Budapest, amazing. Vienna, amazing. And that's where those pieces, I guess, come from. But this place is Oviedo area, and I'm new to it too, so please check me if I'm wrong here. It still has that home feel. What I mean by home is that not rural per se. I hear it was like that, but how does this tie into that Oviedo feel? How is this Oviedo per se? This thing here, that's Oviedo all day. Check. But something other than that. Therefore, what is the focal point for that area? What's going on? And if it's something that relates to it, great. If It's not, I just have
Yeah, well,
questions. But that's
so-
just me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is very personal, and that's the thing. Art is something that is very personal. So sometimes we give meaning to things that we see with our own reference, right? With our own eyes, with our own lenses. So I am really into design, and sometimes it's just like the form. The form is appealing to me. It's elegant, or is, so I don't necessarily, and when I'm looking at art, I'm not necessarily looking for something that is
Representation.
almost, tangible in a way. Say, oh, I can see, there's a connection with. I think this shows to us, what we are trying to do with the architecture is that design matters, right? That you are enhancing the experience for the user, for the, the resident, or it shows a modern, take, right? And I think that is something that is, so I welcome, but again, that's so personal, right? There's things that we like, there is things that are, that we prefer different ways, but art is a little bit about this, triggering the conversation, triggering the interest, triggering the, right?
So let's say, okay, let's say we didn't agree, it's proposed without the architecture, or without the art. Is it gonna be this circle with nothing there? Like what? is
Yeah,
that
it may
what
be.
they
Yeah.
decide on, or?
Maybe, because we do not regulate, so we do not force people, right, of have art. We have a lot of roundabouts without art, right, in the city,
Right.
because these are done for transportation purposes. And that's why, I welcome, because I said, well, this is one that is enhancing already the roundabout. It's going to be the first sculpture in a roundabout in the city. And if it's not something that I said, oh, it's completely ugly, or, something that I think it kind of, hurts it's an eyesore, right? I think, well, that's a good contribution, but but I would not control. So if this is denied, let's say, or, if you don't recommend approval and council agrees, I don't know what is going to be the outcome. He may come with a different mitigation. He may put that inside his own, building or complex, right? It's going to be more private and not so much public. So he has different ways, because we won't be able to regulate and force one way or the other.
Got it.
Now, when I see the sculpture, what it tells me, given the history of Oviedo, of course, it's a very quaint town. It has history. It's more rural, not rural, but it's not city. It's kind of in between. But this is more futuristic. This is basically, and what they're doing is they're bringing in mixed-use land developments. So this will be in line with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is not in line with the old Oviedo, or the Oviedo that we currently know,
Mm-hmm.
but this is in line with what they're doing,
I like that, yeah, I like that.
with the
They have a
futuristic.
That 12 has a more modern
Mhm.
line.
It's gonna be a
to it.
modern line, and the location, it's actually away from most of the residential areas that are the traditional residential, the original residential areas.
So you definitely can't, and you don't want to stop there and take a picture with it because it's a roundabout.
Mhm,
You don't
no.
want to stare at it, like if it's a statue or something. I mean, it seems like a good place for it, as opposed to having our, like your picture taken with the Oviedo, whatever. You can't just stop there and get out.
Like, I wouldn't put this around here. It would not fit in. Or even where they're anticipating putting the Ellington Project.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't fit there. But given the fact that it's where it is, in Oviedo Mall Boulevard, and they're building these modern. They're not going to build like what we have. They're actually going to build these multi-use, developments, and it's going to be very different from what we have here in Oviedo. So that would actually be in line with it, whereas the mural probably will not match that area. It kind of, this is more, it's like the old Oviedo and then kind of like the new Oviedo. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it. Because I haven't seen their development. I don't know what it's gonna look like. But I'm taken by, other developments in other cities that I've been to. And basically, this is gonna be very modern. It's gonna be so unlike Oviedo, that people are gonna wonder, okay, is this still part of Oviedo? So, and if that's already approved, there's nothing we could do about that.
Isn't that the struggle? And I don't want to get off topic here, but as far as do we want to retain the Oviedo that, why we're here? Or are we moving that direction there? Because yes, this is most definitely a step in that direction out there of making this a modern, new age deal. Our conservations, as you know, they're dwindling, they're going away. This just adds to that. So that's my piece on that. Do we want the modern, or do we try to hold on to, at least not me, try to hold on to what, I like, why I decided to come out here.
Yeah, but the thing is that these projects have already been approved. That's the direction we're going, whether we like it or not. There's nothing we could do. So basically, it's basically embrace it or leave the spot with, but the fact is that at least they have it over here, whereas in this section, and I live right close to Oviedo High School. So that area, this would not fit in that area. But given the fact that it's up by the Oviedo Mall, that area is more like, there's really not a whole lot of development there. I think there's some on this side, but not where they want to build. So it would be in line with what they're doing.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's aligned with the new project that they are
With the new
bringing, and the
project.
architecture that they are bringing is more contemporary. It's, it's multifamily, but it's more contemporary, more straight lines. It's very elegant. The project is elegant, but it's modern, right? And this is an interesting discussion because the new development and the redevelopment of the city, and just to clarify, this is a city, although people still refer to Oviedo as in the in-between, it's a city, right? We are in city limits, and this is a city that was incorporated in 1925. So it is, the new development is going to be more urban and more, mixed use. We do not want to, affect the suburban areas, the consolidated neighborhoods, they are already there. But the new development, there's only one way to go, and it's going to be, going to the future. There is no way, right? We cannot go backwards, in terms of development. So we can still preserve and honor the history, but architecture is changing, it's going to be, so this is aligned with but Oviedo and the Park already have a bunch of modern sculptures, right? Not all of them I'm a big fan, but they're small in scale, right, in some corners with the fountains, but they are more modern, also aligned with a more modern development, right, that they brought. So this is not going to be the first one, but maybe in scale in the center of a roundabout, yes, but not so much into.
And
We
it's
already
not
have
something
some.
that we have to pay for. I mean, they're paying for it. Is that correct? It's
Yes.
not coming out of our budget in any way, or we don't have to get approval.
You
So,
guys feel like you want to vote, or do you want to
I mean-
table it?
either way, doesn't,
I think we can vote, I already vote. I would say yes to approving it.
okay? Does anyone want to propose?
Yeah, I actually like it. I do. I understand where you're coming from, George. I do. Because I like that. I tend to like more traditional art, and my art is more traditional. But I think what Sheila said really kind of summed up how I feel. It is more modern, but I think it fits with what's going on around it. And I think it's got a classiness and a movement to it. I don't favor modern art, but to me, this is graceful. I see it as kind of more of a graceful sculpture than too modern. But I also, as we get into doing sculptures, would like to see some more maybe traditional ones too, in other places that hearken a little more to like the Oviedo roots. So I really hear what you're saying. But my vote would be yes on this. I think for what it is and where it is, I like it.
So do you guys want to do a motion and move it along?
And again, the same with me. I mean, I like vintage. Everything in my house, you think you're walking into some other time period. But that's me, that's my personal taste. And where I live, that's appropriate. Because of the houses that were kind of built in the 50s, so, and 60s, so that's appropriate. But I know that I wouldn't be able to have that look had I lived somewhere else, you know, so I have to you kind of have to grow and try to fit yourself in. And so, again, just because I really believe, based on other developments, like the multi-use, like, that's what I do. You know, I'm really involved in housing. So I've been to different cities, I've seen the multi-use, you know, the different developments. So I know they're not going to be like anything we've seen here, you know, anything that's already been built.
What is your background, if I might ask?
My background?
What is your job? Yeah.
Oh, I work in human relations. We do discrimination in housing, anything that has to do with housing, developments and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah, ladies, I don't disagree with you at all. I believe you're spot on all this. You already heard my points why on this piece and the idea of the direction where it's going.
Does anybody want to make a motion to recommend that the city council approve the developer's statute? Is that it?
I'll make a motion that the city council approve the developer's sculpture. Is that appropriate?
For the Duell, yeah, the
For
Duell
the- For the
project.
roundabout?
Okay, I approve that.
You have a second first.
You
Somebody
second?
needs to second the motion.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, the motion passes.
3-1.
Thank you for your, I mean, we're not all going to agree on everything, so I appreciate, yes, stay true to what you want, and, you know, sometimes.
We can
it's
agree
gonna
to
be the
disagree, I
narrative
mean.
and difficult. For me, we did this for 3 years, and we got 2 murals by the same artist out of it, so I feel like it's actually so difficult to move things forward, that I'm excited about having, like, okay, we've got those things, plus we are gonna come up with something, you know, so I feel like, wow, we're actually moving. you
Yeah.
know? We actually got 4 people here, we got a quorum, geez. So, I just want the more the better at this point.
So I'm going to go over, because it's already 10 to 7, I just want to go over with the presentation that we talked, and this is just to give ideas so that we can discuss the next meeting. And since we have money, right, still in our budget, we can propose, and it's going to be up to the board what to propose. If something more, you know, traditional, I think diversity in art is also good. That's, you know, my view. And so it's also, you know, good to propose something that is more traditional. There is nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, that reflects, you know, also the city and taste. And I'm with you, Sheila. I'm with mid-century, but mid-century architecture is actually very modern, right? You know, and I'm completely lost in the 60s. So I am actually looking for
I
a
still have the
mid-century
rocking
home.
chair.
That's, you know, but I like the modern mid-century. But anyway, so future projects for us to discuss. We had discussed Oviedo letters in the park, and we're going to show some graphics of that. So this is the letters that we were discussed, and Drew, when he was here, this is the one he's trying to price. And it would be nice to have, so with the murals, one of the ideas that we had for the murals is to have a postcard, right? The one in Central Lake, that people could come and take pictures and say, I've been to Oviedo, or Oviedo residents take pictures, and we have the greetings from Oviedo, right? This is another way to say, well, you are in Oviedo, so we would have letters, and then the letters can be painted by, you know, the artists. So A lot of cities have that. So we have one from Rio, I don't remember what is the one on the top, I cannot read, but Amsterdam, you have, different cities have, a bunch of them have. So this was an idea. Let's move forward to another one. Then we can have sculptures, right? We can commission or we can do a call to artists. So if someone knows an artist, and wants to invite an artist, or the board decides to invite local artists, that is okay too. If you go a little bit to the past, so this one just give different examples of art. These are all kind of more modern. One is more traditional, but this is stuff that the Love is the one in New York City. I mean, these are famous sculptures in different cities. This one I was curious to know how much a sculpture would cost. So there is this website, right, sachiart.com, and I went there and I said how much it is. So I cannot read from here, but it's there, and the ones that have the 3 totems, I think they are 4,000, 3,000 something each. And so I just wanted to know if we are going to have a call to artists, how much we could assign, right, in the budget. So these are just examples, and I invite actually all of you to research a little bit to be able to propose, right? So other examples, and there is one that looks like a little, chicken, kind of a modern look on the chicken. I thought it was interesting because our connection to chicken, whatever. So just examples of sculptures. And these murals again, I found those interesting ones on COVID, right? The one that has this nurse with this Superman, mask, and the other one on the left. The top one is a famous Brazilian muralist, Eduardo Cobra, and that was the one is in Miami, which is, I think it's so beautiful, and just examples of different murals. And then literature, right? We talked about using murals also to communicate literature, because we can use also different arts, right, to media to have art in the city. Next one, we talked about having a photo contest once. That would be also an interesting way to reach out to the community and ask them to take pictures in Oviedo. There are special places. I think that would be something that is, would be very welcome, and we could only even do that with kids as well. So this the other idea of having the kids photo contest, my special place in Oviedo. I think that would be something that would also create some good movement for us. We can plan to have live demonstrations, so have one day like an event that we invite, local artists to, and we have one here in the board that could do demonstration for us and also inspire, right, new folks to be engaged in art, or promote a workshop. That is something that we can also do with our money. So these are just different ideas for us to think and propose for in the future. Promote an open house with local artists. Well, some cities do that, so special day that we have, we contact studios and locally and ask them if they could have an open house that day, and then we would advertise and promote that kind of experience. Trees and lights, I think it was interesting. The top one on the left was an exhibition. I went to the Botanic Garden in New York City, and the artist just wrapped the trees with this polka dots kind of fabric, and it was so beautiful because the sculptures are really the trees, and we had others that used just a paint on the tree trunks that are not bad for the trees, but just also using the trees as the media to, to show sculptures, So I thought it was interesting. Or use lights, right? That would be another way to also create something that is not permanent, but a temporary art exhibition. Next one. Well, this was what we wanted to discuss. This was planned, a couple of months ago. So we wanted to have your support before taking to the CRA, but because we could not have those meetings, we took to the CRA. And next one, that's it. So these are just, I said, well, so that we can start talking for the next meeting, would be an opportunity for us to discuss what is the next project. Because if we have, so today we approved 2, but then we still have the money in our budget.
Who are the people that did not come today? Like there's 3 people. I know Melissa. Did she have her baby? Or?
So Melissa had a baby,
Okay.
and she's still very interested in, I think, staying in the board. She communicates frequently with us,
Okay.
which we really appreciate. And I was going to talk on my last
Sorry.
point about that. That's okay. But yeah, it has been a struggle to have the meetings here, right? One of the things that we need to, all the board members, and I'm talking to the ones that communicate, right? Because you are the ones that are here. With Dahlia, because we need to confirm quorum. So I think twice we had a situation that we had the meeting because people confirmed, but then did not show up, and we did not have. So this is kind of, people are commuting here, and it was a waste of time, and there was some frustration, we understand. 2 board members, so I sent a letter or an email, right, really asking people to, to communicate with us, if they are still interested in keeping on the board, and what are the rules, and the expectation, because if you commit to a board like that, there is an expectation that you will show up, right? And if you do not, then you communicate with us.
Right.
And after that, 2 board members resigned. One was Jennifer Webb, and she called me and said, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to keep up with the board. I'm super busy right now. And so she resigned. And today, another member resigned, and that is Phil. What is his last name? So he resigned today. He sent an email today. There is one board member that never showed up, still. He's a new board member. So this one, I don't think, should continue on the board, right? So December is usually the time we reach out to council for, reappointments if needed. My suggestion is that we do not fill those 2 positions, because the more people on the board, the more difficult it is to reach quorum, right? So if we have 9 members as originally planned, so the resolution says that it's up to 9 members. So we do not necessarily need 9 members, but the more people, then, so 9 members will need to have 5 members to reach quorum. If we have 7, then we can have 4. So it makes easier to have quorum, right? So my proposal is that we should not fill those positions, but we should replace those members that cannot come. And if you have never come to a meeting, but also do not communicate with us that you are not coming,
Right.
that is a problem for us, right?
Yes.
And I think Melissa's still here.
Right.
And I think she, today, she just had a baby, so she's
Son,
still
yeah.
breastfeeding. She said next month I'll probably go, but today I cannot, and we totally understand. And so,
How do we then, the one person who has never come and doesn't communicate, are we able to?
so we will take, that's
You'll take care of that.
my role to take to council, and
Great,
I'm
okay.
going to do that. But I think what I'm going to propose, and I just wanted to check if you're all okay, to reduce the number to 7.
Fine for me.
Because then it makes easier,
Yeah.
right? 7,
7 is fine.
And if it doesn't work, we can reduce
But there's
To-
still, so then there's still a few
to
people. that-
5, you know.
Yeah, because I can ask, we can all ask around and just tell people, heads up, put your resume in, or whatever, the application.
Oh, when it's time for,
Yeah.
if we
Or
open,
people that were really excited to do it last year or the years before, it seemed
Yeah.
like, so maybe it's just a bad connection, just COVID and all that stuff, so maybe it's just a difficult time.
so Dania, who did not respond to us this time?
Sean Blackburn.
Only him. So how many do we have right now? Do you know how active members do we have? It's 5?
4, 5. So it would be.
No,
Karen
so,
M,
so Melissa,
Melissa, Karen M, Lisa, Sheila, and George are the ones that are constantly in the loop.
no, but those who has not resigned.
That have not resigned. The
Yeah.
only one that hasn't resigned is Sean Blackburn.
So we have 6 members. So if we don't replace him, we would have 5, which is even better, right, Stacy? We would only have 3, quorum would be 3. It would be like city council. If you're okay with that,
With 6? Did you say 6?
no, 1 member is a member who's not coming, right? So if we do not replace him, and we'll have 5 members, you 4 plus Melissa. If you're comfortable with that, we keep at 5.
I don't know if that's gonna work, if something happens where you can't come, or I can't come. Yeah. But if we got somebody who's a little bit more active and interested, a couple more people, maybe.
Yeah.
What happened to Xavier's? I thought he was on board.
Xavier? No,
No?
never,
Okay.
no.
He was just at the meeting.
It'd be a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
He
I
could
don't
not
know.
be.
I'm just making that up, but, but, I don't know, I mean, it's,
So we need to have an odd number, right?
Yeah.
Usually, not to have, So right now we have 6. 6 active members. 1 has never showed up. So either we are going to open for 2 positions, his position and another one, and have 7 members, or we're just going to accept that he will drop, and we'll have to communicate that to him, and have 5 members, and which is going to be you 4 and Melissa, which will make the quorum to 3. So it's going to be the same situation as council, right? Council, we have 5 members. Quorum for a city council meeting is 3. Usually the 5 are there.
Try it like that for a little while and then see if we are having a problem having 3, then we could always add back in, right?
I'm comfortable with that. I mean, at this point, we want to have projects moving forward.
Yeah.
That's what we want, right? And we want to be able to have the meetings. Okay.
Yeah, try
So
it.
we're reducing the number to 5? Because I have to write it. So it'll be
If
5.
you're comfortable with that, I'm going to propose that to council. Again, this is council, I'm going to talk to Brian, our city manager, Mr. Cobb, and then to the city council.
okay. All right, so, again, I guess the next time we meet, we can talk about what our project is gonna be, the next project, which there's some suggestions, but whatever, we can settle on something maybe and just start talking about it and how we're gonna go about it. Next meetings, when, are these okay? November 17th and December 8th? Sound all right? All right. And does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn? Do you have anything else to say?
No.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Because I can't make a motion, right?
So what was
A motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I approve that motion.
second the
I
motion.
second that motion. I'll get this down one of these days.
Well, you can have my file that tells exactly what to say. It's really helpful.
Thank you all,
So
thank you for coming.
What time is it? Oh, all in favor?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody opposed, say nay. And we're opposed at, I don't know what time it is.
7:05.
7:08. All right.
Thank you all, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for approving those two projects.